know nobody won't be doing do it. Oh, 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 oh. Global search for a jester's crown, a circus car from town to town. USA Taekwondo spins plates like a pro. J. Steve Green and Brown, they steal the show.
Searching high, searching low, for a star to steal the glow. Do you tumble low? Do you fly?
Clown wanted, red nose flaunted, big shoes to fill, so who's undaunted? 6'7", baby, oh well, send your resume and ring the bell. Spin the unicycle, juggle 3 pies, make the crowd laugh, tears from their eyes. Searching for a better to join their lessers with painted faces and silly gestures.
Oh, the tightrope is thin. Do you dare to begin? Oh, the cannon's loaded for flight. So who's ready tonight?
Clown wanted, red nose flaunted, big shoes to fill, so who's undaunted? 6'7", baby, oh well, send your resume and ring the bell.
Welcome to the Warehouse 15 Uncut. And we have had a lot of cutting because we've had a lot of technical issues. And I think it's TJ again, some sort of black magic, something or other going down there in some voodoo. I know he's down in voodoo territory. Yeah, man. But welcome to the Warehouse 15. It's our holiday episode. And we have a special guest, one of our favorite, brightest guys in the room. He's going to educate us, manipulate us, and certainly stimulate us. But I'll let Coach Moreno introduce him along with Mr. TJ. What's up, Mr. Coach?
Well, first of all, I didn't know you were Don King over there with all your rhyming. But no, happy to be here.
Don't get me started. I got guitars behind me, baby.
Oh my
Peace
God.
and love, San Francisco.
Listen, getting towards the end of the year, we're happy to have you back, Mr. Lewis. I know we had you early on. A couple of episodes when we first started. I think we had you on. It was really fun, and a lot of people really enjoyed your commentary and some of the great things you do with statistics and things like that. So happy to have you. You're my brother. Beer drinking. I don't know if you can see it with that, but good to see you. Happy holidays. Hey, my man, that's good. And of course, Coach Terrence, how you doing today?
I'm good. Just at the gym right now, enjoying my northern lights behind me. Getting ready for another week of podcasts. So always excited to have
are all over the world nowadays. Some weird stuff happening.
Always excited to have a guest on the show, though, especially with someone with all your stats and everything. I've never been a really big numbers guy. I always just look at the performance, see who wins, see who loses. But it's always interesting when you start putting stuff together and you're like, wait a minute, this makes a lot more sense, or justifying things that have been said or done. So I'm excited for this conversation, actually.
Yeah, but I'm a little. TJ, did he ever give you that treasure map to all that gold he found back in the day?
Nah, not yet. I'm waiting on it.
Nah, listen, really happy to have you. How's everything, Mr. Lewis? How's everything over there in your neck of the woods? Going to be over there pretty soon for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, that's not that long from now in early March. Looking forward to that G2, I guess it is. Really delighted to be back with you guys today. I have been listening to your podcast, and I agree with quite a lot of it, and I disagree strongly with a couple things. So maybe we'll get to story, not story today. But anyway, we'll find our way through this, and it's going to be a blast.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I would love to. I mean, we had a couple things that we'd like to talk about and stuff like that. But yeah, bring some of that stuff up, or mention it up, and we'd love to talk about it and kind of see where you come from. I think that'd be fun. I'm just talking about the U.S. Open. I think it's going to be interesting because all the points reset in June, and so a lot of the big athletes already have their points. They're already in the Grand Prix. So I'm curious to see who comes out, who spends the money, because as you both know, because you're pretty connected to this, it's going to be a freaking sprint from June 2026 to the end of 2027. It's going to be a sprint, and there's a lot of big shit to fight in, and people might just take, the early part of the year off,
Yeah, I did a compilation a couple of days ago, just haven't made the post yet, but yeah, Brazil has, I believe it's 10 people already into the Roma Grand Prix. The US has 9. I think Canada has 6 and Mexico only about 3. And there's a few maybes because they're down ranked in the high 30s and low 40s, and it's all based on, who shows up. A number of countries like Brazil in 58, you've got so many guys there that I don't know if you're going to take the top two or because you got four in the top 30 or so, 35, I believe it is. So you've got choices. The U.S. doesn't have choices. Those 9 people are set in stone, and they're probably going to go to all 3 Grand Prix based on the points they have. And it's not looking very good for anybody else to qualify because they're down in the 50s or 60s in 49 and 58, and they're just not going to make it.
I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction because I think everyone's going to want to start out pretty strong and get that point total up. But 2027, there's a lot to fight for with the World Championships and Continental Championships and stuff like that. So I know, listen, Brazil is going to go to all 3, and I think a lot of people will go to all 3. But the real thing is going to start off in 2027 because that's when, we almost know that if you get a World Championship medal and a Grand Prix final medal, you have a really good chance of qualifying in the top 6. So, of course, you got to do the work with all the other ones, but it's going to be interesting, to see, how people come out the gate and what kind of performances people have, and the United States is lucky because they got their people already qualified. So they got I know they have dreams of qualifying 8 people. Probably not going to happen. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but that's the truth. You know that better than me, Mr. Lewis, with the point systems.
Yeah, that's not happening. They'll be lucky to get 4. And
they'll get 4 though,
guaranteed.
Right? They'll get 4.
They get 4 qualified, but I mean, qualify through being the top 5 or 6 in the world. That's not likely.
And the rule is, because I learned this, I didn't realize this. Last quad, the host, Paris, they had 2 females that were number 1 ranked, and their men weren't ranked. And so it's either all or nothing unless they change it. And all means you have to take all the wild cards, and you get that means you're ranked number 4, or you say we want our 2 top ranked people, and we're going to forgive or get rid of the other 2 men. Of course, you're not going to do that. You're not going to make your Olympic team smaller. So hypothetically, they qualify 3 people, and they want to get that 4th person. All those people are going to have to come in at the number 4 seed. So it's kind of a weird. I don't feel. I know it's not what I thought about talking about today, but the United States getting, 4 people in the top 6, I don't think is very likely. They might get 1 or 2, but that's probably about it. Because it's going to be pretty tough, pretty tough, and I think it's going to be. I know we've had some people highly ranked right now, but it's also been a fake 2 years. You know what I'm saying? That you see a lot of big guns are not fighting. And if they are fighting, they're fighting like, see what happens, So
yeah, I went through the top point getters of the year for 25 in all the weight classes, the Olympic weights. And you're right that there was a radical variance in who fought how many fights, like the Iranian guy in 58, Zandi. He only did 4 events, and that was very different to the Iranians. Sif Essa and Alicio in 87, which is also generally heavyweight. They're the top 2 guys. They only fought 5 times. But then you had the opposite thing where the Hungarian girl in 67, she fought like over 12 times. Yeah, and of course Victor did that too. He fought like a dozen times, and it was great practice.
Yeah, I think some of the younger ones. The Hungarian girl is young. Victor is young. Alessio and Seth, the Tunisia guy, fought very sparingly, and they're just kind of like, they look like professionals. They look like, it's like that whole thing, the rabbit and the tortoise. Like, we're going to take our time, and when it's important, we'll get there, and so
you told me all the continentals will be done before the point reset, correct?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. There's a little controversy right now. The first Grand Prix in Rome is the same time as the European Continental Championships. It's a big problem right now. The Italian people are pissed because they're actually starting lawsuits because they're supposed to be before June, okay, and it's the same weekend. So think about that. You're Italy, and you're trying to host the Grand Prix and you got the Europeans at the same time. For what reason? I have no idea.
I don't
No
know why
idea.
they would even do that. Like that's
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's
it's kind of
really
a,
bad.
I think it's a schedule mix up, and hopefully they figure it out. But
Yeah,
speaking of that,
the only purpose it seems to me for having all these, continental championships like the Pan Ams in May is that, you could be on the bubble where you need those points to get to the Paris Grand Prix.
yeah,
That's the only advantage.
only events. Yep, you're right, 100%. It's funny because I mean, again, I feel like I'm getting off topic real fast. But what do you think about, like, we talked about this last time? Me and TJ talked about it. Like, as much as me and TJ, as you know, we talk about development and investing in younger people. This would be a perfect time to, I know you posted that we got like what, I don't know how many people that qualified directly to the national team. Don't let those get
Yes.
the people in the national team get new people. Let them go fight, because it doesn't really mean anything to the CJs of the world or the Christinas of the world because they're already in. So let somebody else go and get that quote unquote experience, with national team, with traveling, or maybe run the table, get 40 points and sneak into a Grand Prix. I don't know.
I said that as we talked about that. I don't think I said it last time, but some of the guys that were on the national team, like direct through our qualification process, some of them have wild cards for the Pan Am Championships already. Like
that too.
Even more reason to, I mean, why not? They're gonna pay for those guys regardless. And I think I said it before, but they're gonna pay for 74, they're gonna pay for 68. And I think both of those guys, Victor and Michael, both have wild cards. So potentially, I don't know why you would close the division and not let someone actually fight for another spot to go to the Pan Am Championships.
Right. So I could think of a couple of reasons. You just mentioned the money one. So last time there was a female athlete who had a wild card into the Pan Am Championships, and so she didn't fight at team trials, and they did not pay for her to go to the championship because she didn't do that. So even though she's at the academy and is Faith Dillon, and they did not, pay for her to go. So
where Pan Am Championships?
That's right.
Really?
And, yeah, really. And so this year she's got a wild card too. She's not sure if she's fighting. Just talking to her daddy and talk to her. And I want to see a bunch of these juniors aging up, fight these people, and see what they got. Especially in the women, but also there's a couple guys like this Joshua Alati guy. He's been ripping up juniors, and he's minus 80. I don't know how tall he is. Looks like he's about 6 feet tall. How can he stand up to CJ and Victor? I want to see that.
Yeah, I think it used to be like that before with the team trial selection. I think we talked about it, but like we came back from the Olympic Games and had World Championship team trials for the next year. After having a successful event the previous year, there was, and I think we used the word protection, but there was really there's no reason to protect. I think Grandmaster always talks about it a little bit about who you funding and who are you pushing and who you like kind of going, okay, we're going to protect this person. But especially with the situation we're in now, and with a situation like that, I think that's a big gap for us. We're missing that at-home test a little bit. We're missing that push.
What's interesting for me is like they can do whatever they want. That's been proven, right? I think the Academy and the USAT Academy is a private club, and they could do whatever they want. So they could say, okay, we're only paying for the national team, but our Academy athlete is going because they have a wild card. We're going to pay for them. That's absurd.
That's what I'm saying.
That they wouldn't pay for Faith. That's absurd.
I can't even believe that's a real story. Like they pay for them to go to opens and everything. You don't qualify for an open. Like, I mean, that's just weird, no?
Yeah. I was going to say one other thing is that how they stack the team trials, they seed them, and it's in a crazy way where if you're either the defending champion, like the national team member, or let's say you're on the Olympic team, you're the number 1 seed, and you only have to fight one fight. So that'd be an advantage to doing, team trials this year for 27, so that you can get the number 1 seed.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I said. That's what I said last episode too. And I know maybe it's not on purpose, but at the end of the day, if we're funding people from the academy to go to opens to get points, and then we're using that same point total to close off divisions and say people directly make the national team, then there is no development. You can't really, you have these kids going to regionals and all like we talked about last time, and all these qualification process only to be, cut short by no team trials because the other person is top ranked in a year that all the points reset.
it's
None of it
almost
makes
like it's almost like smoke and mirrors. Like you guys focus on this, we're gonna pay for these people to go over here. They get the points. Oh yeah, by the way, now they're the number one seed. They fight one time. You know, I mean, granted, they got to do the work. Granted, they got to win at that level, but it just seems a little unfair. I think you say stack the deck, TJ. Like if I'm getting paid to go to all these things internationally, I have a good chance of doing it. Meanwhile, these other people are fighting domestic stuff, which they've been told they need to do, and all of a sudden the trial or the selection procedures come out and they have a ranking, like you said, Mr. Lewis, and sometimes there's not even a divisional fight off, or wow, that person's number one. I have to go through 3 or 4 matches, and
Yeah.
so is
I guess
sitting there waiting for that one match.
I guess I would ask, I mean, just because, I mean, we're talking about the stats and everything and numbers, like what does actually right now in this point of the game, what does being top 5 or top 10 or whatever it is in the world ranking actually mean? What is it? What difference does it mean?
It gets you, it gets you to the Grand Prix, which is
Yeah, I
vital.
understand that part.
Yeah.
I'm just saying as far as like a reason to close a division, because if you get into the Grand Prix, you can get into the Grand Prix without being on a national team.
Right. You
Yeah.
said this last time or the time before too, that it's just the Pan Am Championships the national team is going to. Don't even call
Yes.
it that. Call it the Pan Am Championship team. And, why not sit everybody out? Send the young people, let them have a little team trial and see your young guns go and have an experiment.
Yep. Yeah. Let's change subject real fast. I know that the new electronic chess projectors have been kind of a hot topic, and then this new weight champ is, well, it's not new, but it's been recently WTF approved, WT approved, and they use it at 3 events. What's your overall assessment, Mr. Lewis? What are you thinking about it? Good, bad, different?
Yeah, well, let's start with different. I don't know how different it is because I've heard that there may be a lawsuit going on between, Dato and Weichamp, but let's put that aside. Weichamp has been at the Wuxi Grand Slam Challenge, and Bangkok Grand Prix Challenge, and then at the Nairobi Under 21s. It seemed to get better each time, and the scoring all trended up in the 4 divisions, the Olympic divisions that I get a lot of data for. So I think I might have mentioned this privately to you, but I think their engineers at Weichamp have been tinkering, which, some people may say, hey, what's going on with that? But I really like that because it shows they're trying to make improvements. The athletes are going to learn that, certain kicks don't score, like the little ticky-tack, flick kicks, which actually really hurt Michael Rodriguez in 68 at under 21s. He couldn't score. Whereas really heavy-footed kickers using the back leg scored pretty well. And, that looks pretty good on screen for a fan.
I think that's what happened with KPMP1 too, right? I feel like when KPMP1 came out, everyone started using their back legs more. We're like, oh, Korea has it figured out. They're getting in the clinch, they're kicking multiple times. And that was kind of the vibe of it. So, I mean, I think I did see a lot of those. I think we were talking about it before. I just like the feedback though. I think you can still see the touches a little bit more with the weight champ. It kind of shows you kind of, at least how hard you're hitting, or maybe I need to hit it harder as opposed to some of the other previous systems where it just felt like you could hit it hard, you could hit it soft, and you get no feedback. So
right, the threshold thing that you're talking about on the screen where the bar comes up. The funny thing that we noticed watching it is that sometimes it would show 0. It would come up and it'd be 0. What's with that?
That's weird. That's weird. I will say, like, listen, Weight has got a lot of push behind it right now. It's the new kid on the block. There's, from LaJust to Dato to KPMP now to Weight Champ. It seems like there's always something new and improved, but it all ends up being the same shit. I believe that the athletes have to adjust. I mean, I mentioned in a post the other day, someone said something that, athletes, are confused or whatever. I'm like, listen, the conditions are both for the same, for each athlete. If you're a well-rounded athlete, you kick with the front leg and the back leg. And I've always said, not if, but when the rules change or the system changes. If you don't do taekwondo in a full circle, you're going to have a hard time. So I think that was evident in some not just Americans, but some other people as well. They were kind of exposed. But I think generally speaking, I think that the WT is going to this. We don't want the little touches, and that's why you said the first KPMP kind of was like that. I think they want a little bit more of the back leg, and you're seeing a little bit more of a dynamic look, not just listen, it's still a front leg game. People still cancel and set up with like a boxer's jab, but you're seeing back leg roundhouse kicks and doubles and spins, and it's making people kick a little bit more. And yeah, I didn't think it was all that bad. I don't know. I did notice the difference between China, Thailand, and Kenya. There was a significant difference in the point total, but still not too many side kicks, not too many front leg pushing kicks. There was a few. I saw a few, but I saw a lot more back leg roundhouse kicks like you guys have mentioned. So I think that's pretty consistent there. But
I
headgear's
think
definitely
go ahead.
no, the headgears definitely work better than KPMP too. That's not even a question. That's not even a question.
No.
Yeah, I think the idea behind the adapting thing is big. I remember we when we didn't have electronics at all, and then we went to the Just system, and then they switched from Just to KP. You remember the world qualifications that they did that? It was supposed to be Just, and then it was like, no, it was supposed to be Dado. And they're like, no, it's gonna be Just, and they're like, no, we're gonna fight with nothing. So I think that idea behind adjusting to something or figuring it out is just a matter of time. And obviously some countries get it before other countries and all that stuff. But I think I just want to see us go to one system. I don't care what system it is.
But we're truly in a generation of all these kids are electronic fighters, right? They've all, they all fought on PSS. And so for me, you should just be able to adjust. I mean, it's all electronics, and if you can't figure it out, shame on you. I mean, I'll tell you a story, Mr. Lewis, and TJ can attest to this. For years, we never, ever trained or fought with electronics in my gym, ever. I believe that if you kicked right, you would find your point. And if it's not there, you would keep building to it, I mean, I'm talking through the Olympics cycles and everything. So I know if you ask me, is it good to work on them? Yeah, it's good. I mean, it definitely helps people figure it out. But my point is, if that's if you're using that as a crutch, then you won't be successful. I mean, I mean, it's pretty, we knew what kind of kicks scored. We knew what kind of kicks scored. And we practiced them, and we didn't necessarily need the electronics. So, when I hear people like, oh, it was different, or I didn't score my twist kick, I'm like, okay, you just watched 2 days worth of competition. You just fought a round on it. Like, if you can't adjust that quick, I mean, all the electronics suck. They're not perfect. We know they're not 100% accurate. So
I think that's my issue too. When it comes to training with them and everything. I never could find that happy median of why to use it and when to use it. I've had guys at WCAP, I've had them kick on it, I've had them play on it, I've fought with it, I've did one side defense drills with it, and it all just it never adds up, because like you said, the reality is you can hit it 10 times the same way, same spot, and 7 score, 6 score, 5 score. Yeah. So I think the goal is to focus on getting your foot flat and just see what the system gives you back,
Yeah, because you do all that stuff. You go to the tournament and you do the same thing. And you look at the coach like, yo, man, this ain't scoring. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
And I will say that, like you said, it improved over those 3 tournaments. But still, there were, I track, all the scores of every round as much as I can. And there were, on the same ring, there were fights with rounds of 0-0, 0-0. And, the person that won superiority won the match. And then the very next fight on that ring had, 20-point rounds, and even one that was close to 40. And then the same thing, it reverses back to 0 or close to 0. So I don't get what's going on there.
I mean, some of it's the weight categories. Some of it's the, you get a female 73, it might be a lot shorter or small or lower scores versus a men's 58. But I did that one time. I caught a match late, and it was the first round. I think it was India and Korea, I think. And I looked, there was 14 seconds gone in the round, and it was 13-14. I'm like, damn, I missed 13 seconds, and there's 28 points scored. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw one of those too.
Hey, switching gears, hot off the press. USCA is doing a global search for a new I don't want to say another high performance coach to live full time in North Carolina and work with the national team towards 2028 and 2032, according to the what is it, press release. Thoughts?
Yeah, I've got some. It wasn't clear to me that it was additive. I hope it is. And because the reason I wasn't sure is that over the last couple of weeks, my wife has noticed, actually, she told me, and then I started to pay attention, that Gareth and Paul have been advertising their Today's Taekwondo more than they ever did in the past.
Good point.
And so she actually said, I think they're going.
No way, we just froze
And
again.
I don't know. And then,
you're good.
then I looked at their, how long I'm not sure if they're here if they got a green card or it's a, visa. The visas are good for 3 years, extendable to 6. It's been 6-ish years. So I don't know. I'm just pushing a rumor out there and I have no basis for believing in. But I hope it's additive. I hope, I wish you guys were combination of applying, that they would take you seriously, and you're on the interview team. But who knows? What do you think?
Real fast, I'm gonna tell you this. Like, I didn't think about that, but it's funny you said. I remember when they first came to the United States, they had their Taekwondo Today thing up a lot, and they were trying to push it. Then I thought it kind of got shifted into their university online, right? That kind of Coach Green was kind of doing that kind of stuff, and maybe they used some of that content for that. Okay, and they kind of slowed down. Actually, not slowed down. It came to a screeching halt. Like, you didn't hear anything about it. And you're right. Just recently, a couple people have been posting stuff on that. A couple of their friends, and I think themselves, have put some things out there. So, listen, I don't know if they're thinking about leaving or if they are, what all that kind of stuff. But I think that if you came from Europe and you live over here in America, in Colorado and in North Carolina, and you have a nice house and a nice yard and a nice space and nice big yard, roads in front of you and stuff like that, it's a little hard to go back to Europe, especially GB, which is having a lot of interesting things going on in they're just culturally and stuff like that. So maybe they're just looking for, at least one of the coaches that lives here right now is thinking that, listen, I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere, but that's an interesting take that your wife, caught. I've seen it. And now when you say that, I'm like, wow, maybe.
Yeah. Who do you think will be on the interview team? Or has that been said?
It says it. It said it. It said it on
yeah.
there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it said Paul, Gareth, Lambden, and Carol. Carol, is that her name?
Lewis.
Carol Lewis. Yeah, those,
I think
those
that's
four.
It said it was Steve was going to make. Well, he was the main guy, but he was going to have input from those people, and it was that order. It was Paul as the director, Gareth as a coach, Steve as a coach, and Miss Carol Lewis as a board member. I'm trying to do that, but I mean,
is that Carol Lewis, the failed
Carl,
Olympian, sister of Carl Lewis, who
yes,
is been trying to find a way to be relevant in the Olympic movement by being the alumni? Is that the same Lewis, that genius?
Same one.
Oh,
same
geez.
one.
Well, at least
She
they have a.
She goes to every event.
She
goes to every international event.
Of course she does. She has anything else to do. She hasn't done anything with her life ever. So, but God bless us that we're able to flush the Olympic toilet and be the receptacle with our mouths wide open for all the feces that flows out of the Olympic movement that's not relevant. But God bless Carol Lewis. That explains more than I needed to know that I now have forgotten.
Listen,
I'm a little disheartened. I'm a little disheartened. I mean, we went from having, and again, I think we talked about a long time ago about culture being important, and like, again, when I say history being important and being culturally locked into the area that you're coaching, because our kids are brought up different, our athletes move different, they're different expectations. Now we've moved away from US coaches to having, European coaches. And now these European coaches are now on a global search to find more high level coaches who, according to their thing, was done things internationally, have coached at the Olympics, coached at the Worlds, produced athletes. So we're looking for another person outside of this internal system to come in and according to them, revolutionize and help and push towards Brisbane. We're talking 2032 already. We're not past this Olympic Games where we're supposed to dominate, and we're talking about 2032 and bringing in a person. And again, now we're like, dude, we're deep at this point. Think about it. Like, who are we looking at? Like, globally, we're starting globally. Like, mention internally and globally. Say something that you've been looking at coaches, or I don't know, develop coaches. Isn't that what their system's supposed to do? Develop coaches, and you have coaches work on your staff and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And now we're globally searching for someone else because there's nobody here.
Well, I'm gonna jump in real fast. I mean, first of all, like, I'll tell you guys off air privately who I think it's gonna be. But I'm gonna go with that first with your last comment, TJ, because again, you've been here for 7 years. We're supposed to develop athletes, a pipeline, and coaches. You are going to revolutionize our
All of
country.
those things.
And now you've brought, I mean, I'm well documented on all the people that you brought, from TJ Curry to Chase Graham to Steve Lambden to
TJ, who?
all these,
TJ Curry, another perennial non-performer who was coached badly and then developed badly and never meddled
Okay.
at anything. No, hold on a second. The one thing that continues is the culture of non-performance. Since the exiting of the Koreans who were corrupt, the corrupt Korean leadership, we've now replaced it with a malfeasant, underperforming leadership that continues to empower fourth-tier coaches and athletes, and they don't meddle. And then you bring these guys in. Hold on, no. It's got to be said. It's got to be said. The reality is that we have a continual culture of non-performers, including current coaching staff, who then empowers fourth-tier Americans that couldn't carry the bags of the people that we used to have in the past. And now you bring in Carol, whatever the hell her name is, Lewis, on the board. So it all makes it's a performance culture of wannabes who never were, and they continue to. Now they're going to have the same clowns who didn't perform here and didn't perform when they were athletes and are coaching hypothetically for the past 7 years, and they're going to choose their next generation. What do you think is going to happen?
well,
Anyway,
I think he was in a, again, I give him a little bit of credit. I think he was in a generation. We had a lot of good fighters at that point. I think he held his own in that generation as far as like national team. TJ Curry was decent. He was good. But like my point is, my point is this. He started. My point is this. He started.
No.
He started
you can say
working
whatever
with
you
him.
want to say, but let's be
He
honest.
started. I am being honest.
Who? You can be honest. I'm going to be honest. Other than sharing your two initials, that's the extent of his record. That was a great potential athlete who I'll put in the same category as the other initialed athlete, CJ. And again, we'll run into the same problem: bad coaching, bad development, and then he will underperform. And that's just reality. You don't have to like what I'm saying,
listen,
but that's truth.
I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but my point is, they specifically brought people into their coaching cycle. Yes, they brought into their coaching cycle. Shouldn't those people be the ones that you bring out there and invest in versus going to get some random person? Let's say that random person is good, but they're different than what you believe in. They're different. Like, different is good, but shouldn't you be, working with the people that you brought in? Don't you believe in them? Like, why are we looking for a global search? Why wouldn't you say, we're bringing in TJ Curry, we're bringing in Chase Graham, we're bringing in Hensel, we're bringing in whoever you think it is? I don't know. I'm not saying I agree with those names. I'm just saying those are the people that played the game, worked with you guys, followed you, were your disciples, and now they're just pushed to the side. Like, I feel bad for them. I feel badly for them.
Saying. That's what I was saying. I mean, I know they've been a part of the system for a long time, since dating back to 2018, 2019, and there's really nothing that have come. I mean, they should. Again, I just don't agree. I don't agree how we got into this global search. And
they took a page from the Koreans' playbook, guys. That you got to remember who's running the show now. Jay Warwick's pulling the strings of Steve McNally, and he's got two hands on the two coaches, and it's the same thing that he was told. Oh, don't worry. One day, when you are ready, you're not ready. You do not understand the taekwondo. When you watch the flower, you're looking at the flower. You must look at the seed. One day, this will all be yours. And as a guy who went through the process, I kissed the flower, right? Yeah. I'm a ninth dan. I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I'm a lawyer. I'm better educated than every Korean that's ever coached me. When is my time come? It's clear. Jay's got that playbook because that was his playbook. So all those people that invested in the system, that they got systematized, and they shouldn't be surprised. That list is long and laundry, and has been for a long time. All right, I'll stop. Bye.
No, we're insiders, and we it's obviously emotional to us. What do you, Mr. Lewis? What is like your, I don't know, 50-yard thought process on it?
Sure. I've got a couple things, at least. You know,
At least.
I look at how our team's done. You know, that's basically what I do is I track results and time series information. And although, and so give them credit, you know, our results at Worlds this year were as good effectively in terms of, you know, a couple of medals and like whatever it was, 3 or so quarterfinal finishes, as good as anything we've had since 2011 during the electronic era. However, everybody else has gotten better. And so, you know, I made a post today, which I actually want to talk to you guys or ask you your opinion on. In that period, the 22, 23, and 25 worlds, senior worlds, we went from 12th place to 16th to 20th. And that's because a whole bunch of countries passed us. So if we're going to dominate in 28, plus or minus this, you know, new coaching team, which I agree it should have a number of U.S. guys who are, you know, committed to by this group, but also, you know, like what countries are we going to pass to dominate? You know, we got to pass a dozen or 15 countries, and if you go down the list of countries who are ahead of us, I don't see it. You know, even with, you know, a bunch of new faces coming up on the scene, aging up into the senior ranks, you know, there's at least one cadet as well who I think we should have, you know, this Taylor Jo Gavin in the senior cadet. I think she's going to be, you know, something. I think there's a couple women coming up that I've high hopes for. This Pola Wasilewska and maybe Crosby Goebel and a few others. I want to see them fighting the women, and I want to see some of these guys fighting the men. But even with that, how can anyone, especially the board of directors, believe for like a second without chuckling to guffawing that we're going to dominate? We're not going to dominate. We got to survive. So
Yeah.
it's one step after another. You guys are in it, and you know would have a lot to do. You know, the anomaly, as I tracked all those countries over the last, you know, 6 or 7 events, the anomaly was Brazil. You know, finishing third at Senior Worlds this year. Usually Brazil and the US are kind of similar results at all these major events, cadets, juniors, seniors, under 21. But all of a sudden, and you talked about it, Brazil is, you know, got 2 golds, 2 silvers, and a whole bunch of other pretty darn good performances. Just leapfrogged us, you know, close to dominating. So how does the US do what Brazil's done?
You know, it's interesting real fast. I'm gonna go back. You talked about how we've kind of declined or we've slid, and I guess this is my biggest gripe is that, like, when is enough enough? Like, again, if I'm just a business person and I hire a salesperson and his sales decline over 7 years, you know, again, if I'm a professional football team and my production slides over, I get fired. I just don't understand how these guys, exactly. I don't understand how, especially, look, I work for another country. I've never walked into any meeting and said, damn it, here's what we're going to, listen, I kind of come with my tail between my legs. We're going to work. We're going to do this, blah, 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 blah. But they, you know, they, for the most part, said, we don't know what we're doing. You don't have anyone that knows what they're doing. We are here to rescue you and help you. And they haven't. And you're right. 2 medals is not bad. You know, it's not great, but it's also the other first round losses. It's the way people lost. It's, you know, a country like Mexico that's reeling right now, just reeling, you know, and I'm very close to a lot of those people over there. And it's the same thing. People are losing their jobs left and right. I don't understand how they keep their jobs, how they get bonuses, and how they're bringing in new people. That's, listen, if I was in Brazil, I am in Brazil. If we start pitching donuts, I'm out. They will move on and try to find something or else. And I would understand. I just don't understand that about the United States. And then to hear this global search, if they said we're looking for an American coach, I would have been a little bit happier. I would have been like, wow, okay. Maybe I wouldn't agree with the person, like, you know, Grandmaster Perez said, but it's just a slap in the face to all of these people that have worked hard and have done well, you know, and, you know, support the organization, provide cadets and juniors to say, thank you, no thank you, sorry, not sorry, we're going to go somewhere else. And maybe they're not. Maybe they will settle on American. But by the way they phrase that, by putting it in the WT coaches chat, they're just looking for somebody from Belgium, from Iran, from Korea, from I don't know, somewhere.
To
And
do
what are they going to
what
pay?
though? That's the
To do
crazy
what?
part. To do what? To do what? And I think going back to your point about the electronics and comparing the years from electronics, we said back to 2011, right?
Yep.
Back to 2011 with all the electronics. I mean, the only reason I go a little bit different away from that is because now we have a system where they have a centralized training and they've had it for a while.
Yep.
So
That's another thing.
we're not comparing the two same things. We're comparing a national team that used to go to the World Championships that had different pockets. You had your coaches here, you had your coaches there, and you had the head coaches that coached those athletes. But they all were pretty much scattered around, minus the couple people that trained in the same place. Now we're looking at, I mean, 6, 7, 8 people from the same place
Yep.
potentially, and for the under 21 and everything. So this is almost a direct reflection on like the ranking and all that stuff like that. That's why I always think, that's why for me, I told you I thought the numbers are interesting, because I think before it was kind of hard to scale and make sense of, but once you put that many people in the same room versus who they're working with versus the other people coming in, you're looking at the same results across the board, really. And obviously we have our superstars, and I get it. We have our people that perform at the times, like, but and again, I said it before, we've always had people in pockets that went out and held the flag up for the United States of America. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
for me, after 7, 8 years, and after you can look at it and go, it's a slow decline. The fact that we said this last time though, we've gotten more money, they've gotten more. Remember the whole raise thing, and Steve got a raise, everybody got raises.
Yeah.
Now everybody got raises, and now we're into the point where not raises, we're adding another person to the staff. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
They got
We got to be doing pretty good, right?
We are.
They got to be making.
Well, you know, the last couple governing board meetings, they said basically we're flush, but they don't say a number because I keep talking about the numbers. And you know, they said, well, we're going to find a place to park this. Why would you park it somewhere off-site? You know, like a secret agenda to go, I don't know, invest it or something. You got so much money. Sure, hire a coach. I think they should double the size of the academy. I got all kinds of names of people that they should be inviting in there, and it's not necessarily their so-called development team. And, you know, spend that money. What are you saving it for?
Yeah. I was going to ask you about, I mean, my next thing, okay, that was a hot topic that just came out, but like, you know, I was going to ask you about, what do you think about our overall, development, you know, with the cadets and juniors? And I mean, first of all, I'm going to say it's non-existent, but like kind of now, just piggyback on that, you're absolutely right. I mean, what are you going to pay this coach? 60, 70,000, you know, to live in North Carolina? I don't know what they're going to pay him, but
Right.
why not bring a bunch of whatever they call it, tier 2. I saw a bunch of tier 2 people, and I think they posted something, and they had some young ladies on the floor kicking slow and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
thought that was interesting that they show all these, you know, young ladies and, you know, and no boys. I don't know if that was weird or not, but I thought that was strange. But yeah, why not invest in that? I think you've posted significantly about the age of Olympians. And they still, to TJ's point, they don't go to cadets, they don't go to juniors, they don't believe in that. And I don't know, they need to take all that money and invest it in some American kids,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
You're right. And looking at that, I got that chart in front of me about the ages from 2015 through 25 at World Championships. The Olympics are very similar. Yeah, the averages haven't actually changed very much on the women. The average, you know, sort of peak age, average age, median age is 21 and a half. And this time there were like, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 11, 13, 14. There were 14 medalists on the women's side that were teenagers. And there was only 3 men. So, you know, 17, 18-year-olds now, you know, and 28, that means they're 15, 16 right now. And one of the things
Right.
I heard is that the academy is not allowing anyone under 18 in because of, you know, historical, either real or imagined problems. And so that's cutting your own throat. Just have, you know, a parent or a designated official guardian, a legal guardian, to, protect them if they need protection. But they need to get some of these kids that are 15 to 17 in there training full time, get them to get a GED or whatever, start college. Excuse me.
Listen, you're right, because if you think about it, again, other successful sports, gymnastics, that's what they do. Kids don't just they move with their family, and or like you said, get a chaperone. I mean, man, I feel like they made a what do you call it, a job, for somebody to move out there from another state that's supposed to be, kind of looking after athletes and stuff like that, and
I thought that's what
I
that
don't
was
know.
for, though. Wasn't that
That's
the point of that?
Again,
And they I didn't know that was a thing. That's the first time I heard it. I know they used to have they had 16-year-olds. I mean, wasn't Anastasia super young when she came into 16,
yeah, but they
whatever?
changed
Christina
it
was young.
since then.
They
I think they
changed it that
changed
they
it
can't have
since then.
people there anymore. Maybe
Yeah.
it's the college thing.
No, it's
That don't make no
underage
sense.
minors. They're minors.
No, I mean, like, maybe it's a college because they're on a college campus training. Maybe it's a college rule per se, but that don't make any sense either.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's, Christina was there at 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
So
it's now that they're paying them, $1,500 a month, plus there's potential for bonuses or a replacement number. That's 18,000 a year per one of these, academy people, and they've got like $1 million in the bank or thereabouts. You could easily bring in 10 of them, 10 new ones.
easy. I mean, for that, you could do that and bring in a domestic coach, someone to kind of, I hate to use this word, babysit, but also be to work with that group and maybe move up with that group. I mean, there's so much, if they have as much money as you say, and they have all this resources, then this should be an easy sell. I mean, there's so many other countries that don't have that, and that are doing better. Like you said, they're passing, and listen, it's not going to get easier. Did you see? I called it too, because there's another country that's going to be nasty, Pakistan. But the Indian athletes, they had a couple medals. Not just that they had a couple medals. They had other ones that fought like the devil. Those kids were scrapping.
Under 21.
Yeah, and what a lot of people don't know, they have the #1 boxing program in the world, India. They're super good at wrestling. They're super good at judo. Like, they're good at combat sports. So they have the #1 boxing, ranked boxing, amateur boxing in the world right now. Again, I don't know. That's like the United States,
But that's
being
why
the number.
we talked about it being so important, and the average age is 21. I think that's why, for me, I expect like the letdown from the under 21 performance was kind of so heavy on me, because that's where we are. Like, those are and some of those guys I think I mentioned last time are #1s, but let's pretend they're not our #1s. But that's our age right there. That's the age of quote unquote development, and quote not development, quote unquote could go win an Olympic medal soon. Could be ready to be the #1 soon. So it's kind of a hard thing to swallow when you look at the results even from that across the board. I think like I said last time, we had some big drops, some drops that they shouldn't lose to them. I think they were better than majority of the field. I think we could have and should have pulled out more medals in that situation. And when we start talking again, that connects back to the whole dominating 28 thing. Like, these kids are going to be the ones. All the rest of them, according to them and according to a lot of like your numbers, the rest of them are going to be old come 2028. No.
Yeah, they're not necessarily too old.
Not old, but according to the.
Yeah, according to the data, they're at or nearly past their peak right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that 20, that's a good point, TJ, about listen, if that's our best 20 group, under 21 group going against the rest of the world, I'm going to tell you, not many countries took that serious. Like, what we put out there was our best. That was a good, like, on paper, that looked like a good team, especially on the men's side. That looked like our good team. So put that against the rest of the world, the rest of the field. Listen, Korea didn't take that super serious. Italy didn't take it serious. Croatia didn't take it serious. France didn't take it serious. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of countries. Iran, Turkey. Look, you mentioned it, Mr. Lewis. China wasn't there on the men's side, really. So
Uzbekistan skipped it too.
Uzbekistan skipped it. No, I mean, there was just a lot of countries that really weren't invested in that. And when they do, it's going to look more ugly. It's going to be rough, so I don't know. That was I don't know what you thought about that overall performance, Mr. Lewis. I mean, we had 2 medals?
Yeah, two
Two
medals,
medals.
four quarterfinals. You know,
Yeah.
I had put out there that you know, I thought we were kind of a lock for three medals
Yeah.
and possibility of six.
Yeah.
So I was pretty optimistic looking at the team on paper too, just like you said. And I watched every U.S. fight, and I watched
Yep.
a whole bunch of other fights, and I came away disappointed.
I said four for sure. I said men's 68 and 74.
Yeah,
I said women's 49 and plus
heavyweight.
67
Yeah, Naomi.
plus 73. And then I said minus 80 and minus 62 for girls, you know, have a little bit of a chance. You know, I thought four solid medals. You know, I thought those kids had to make the finals to call it a success. Like I just, you know, not and listen, I mentioned it last time, and I don't think it's a real world championship when you win two matches and get a bronze medal. That's just that's a Pan Am type thing. That's a small open type thing. I don't feel like that was a real test. Good result. I can't take anything away from the kids. Good result. But the performance and both of them, you know, well, I guess the 80 guy was a little bit competitive in his semifinal, but the other semifinal was tough. That was not. I mean, I like, you know, I've mentioned this many times on this podcast. I like Victor a lot. I really, I don't know. There's a lot to like about him, but that was not close. That was not competitive in that final match. And maybe it's a bad match. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
and you mentioned the teams that took it seriously, but there were still unknowns there. You know,
yeah.
Iran, Turkey, Korea, or sorry, Russia, with those two small women in 46,
Oh, they're
49. They are a blast to watch, I tell you.
so nice.
And they had, so for example, Iran sent 14, and they had 8 medals and 3 quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Russia had 8 medals and 4 quarterfinals. So they took it seriously.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. It's and again, I don't know even. I'm going to say this in a weird way. I don't know that I think Iran took it serious because you could tell they looked the way they were coaching and the way their energy was. They wanted that, you know, pretty bad. But I think Russia. I just think they're that good. I don't know that they took it serious. I think they just said, yeah, you know, because that's kind of how they are. I mean, their energy is
deep.
just kind of
They're
like
deep.
yeah. I think
They're
they're
deep. I mean,
I
they're
said
deep.
it.
They could send people over there. And again, when I look at the field compared to everyone else and where we were for that under 21 event, they could send some people and like see. I know we say maybe didn't take it seriously, but like maybe they did send their development people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I even think that about Iran though. Iran's scary and interesting to me because you look at their 58. You know, I think they sent him for the purpose to get points and all that stuff like that. The coach looked bored out of his mind. Like, why am I here for this? You know, like anybody else could have been here and done this job. In that point with that kid in that division, it was crazy. But I think maybe again, even for them, maybe I like the Iranian guys and girls that they sent, the guys they sent. But like, I don't think they were like overwhelmingly good. And I know they can get real good, especially at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old too. So
Yeah. Mr. Lewis, what was the post you said you want to talk to us about?
Well, we already did about the the negative progression of USA's overall performance and other teams, but I've invited the people that look at these posts and name some countries that we're going to pass. So I'll say the countries we're not going to pass. We're not going to pass Iran, Turkey, Russia, Korea, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Are we going to pass Spain? And now we got these Mediterranean countries, the Muslim countries, they're following Iran's example. You got Jordan, Egypt, Tunisia, and Morocco. We could probably stand toe to toe with Morocco, maybe. And then Brazil. Who are we going to pass? I don't know.
Did you put Italy in there?
Well, they haven't done much the last couple of events, but yeah, Italy as well.
I mean,
Italy, Croatia's having a bit of a downsturn, but they usually are way up there. And Britain's fallen off, but maybe they could come back. Who knows? Serbia.
And then you got to look division by division because, for example, I mean, I think that I love that list you just said because what I appreciate them, and I'm going to say this about Brazil, like I think from bottom top from bottom to top, they look pretty solid, right? And then there's countries like Croatia. They're usually good in a couple women categories, and the other ones not so much. Or GB, they got a good, Caden is a legit, medal potential every time. He's probably about it, So every country might have their one-offs, and that's what you said, TJ. Like America's always had a Stephen Lopez, Anastasia, a Paige, a CJ, Christina once in a while. So we've always had these one-offs, but like, when are we going to be solid all the way through?
That's all I want. I just want to be on. I want to wake up one day and find us in the same category. The first issue, the Korea, the Iran, the we should have the ability, and apparently we have the money and the resources and the kids and all this stuff. There's no reason that we can't be at that top list. We should be in that top list.
We ain't going to get there by having an assistant coach 8 people at the World Championships. That's not going to happen. That's not in the best interest of them or the best interest of overall development, right? I mean, you should have your best coach.
We talk about some of that, like the under 21 being kind of like our A guys, and like, let's say that, like, if we replace our whole team with whoever got second and third, we might be in some trouble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no the fall off is heavy. It's not like we were like, all right, our number 1 guy win. It was a crazy fight. Now we can sit our number. I'm gonna say in most situations we probably can't sit our number 2. We can do whatever we want, obviously, but like it would be, double, just as bad, even worse in most situations. Like they would probably be undeveloped. They wouldn't be well traveled. They wouldn't have competed. They wouldn't have any kind of like financial investment in them to know what they can and cannot do. I know they did like a under 21 kind of camp where some of them were out there, but we're just not doing enough.
Right. We don't. Who's our number 2 men's heavyweight? We don't have one. Who's our number 2 female 67? That's Chloe Chua. Chloe Chua. She's good. But who's number 3?
But
I like Chloe Chua. But is she good? Like World Championship medal good? Or
I think she could be.
Not yet. Could be. Yeah.
I think she could be. I like her size. I like her ability. I think if you're looking at anyone in 67, like we shouldn't have closed it off after the Olympic Games last time. Like her and Christina should have fought in the US already. Like there should be some kind of hope for that girl going like, I could be the next one. Because if we're looking at it from here to 2028, we might send women's welterweight. So why don't we have another person that we're pushing in women's welterweight? This goes back to them not even coaching her at the which one of the Grand Prix challenges? Someone else random coach some of these kids. Like it makes no sense. And she was on our upcoming under 21 team, so we missed chances to help develop her there. We have her now, and it's just that's it. But that's by design. For me, it's by design. It's by design. Like I said, when we're closing off divisions and we're not allowing people to fight and we're not letting our guys in the United States of America, again, maybe it's proved to themselves, maybe it's proved to the country, or maybe it's just to keep them sharp, or maybe it's to give the organization, everyone that's not on a national team, a shot going like, hey, I can fight with this guy. Hey, I'm just as good as this guy. Hey, I have a chance to be in a situation where I can win. If it wasn't for those opportunities for even like myself, if they did what they did now, it would have just been the Lopez show, and Mark Lopez would have won again, and Steven would have won again, and like we had no shot at those guys. If we're gonna develop or have anyone come next, there has to be real opportunities where these kids can be displaced from the team. And until then, we're gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Steven was the guy right after 2017, right? He was like 30, whatever he was, 6'7", 74, whatever. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, listen, I think that, it's funny because, we talked about trying to have a team, a full team that's really solid. And we also talked about having 2 and 3. We have this, we have a saying in Brazil, and it comes from the Olympic Committee's top. And they say, if you have 1, you have nothing. If you have 2, you have nothing. You need 3 and 4. And it's funny because I know how difficult that is, but that's literally the goal. I mean, look, I mean, we're lucky that right now we've done some good things, and we have some 58s that we have 2 and 3 and 4 good, pretty decent ones. I'm not saying they're world beaters. Same thing in 68, same thing in 80. We're light and heavyweight. We don't really have anybody of super quality, but I mean, that's what we're trying to do. And when I look, like you said, what God forbid there's an injury to someone like, CJ or Christina. The other ones behind them are nice, but they haven't been invested in for real, that they're going to go in and just next step, right? Next person up,
Right.
we're okay. And not that you want that to happen, but you
Yeah,
better
but
plan for it.
some of these kids are also a little bit young. Let's say they are 18, 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever it is, and they've made the national team per the ranking, blah, 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 and all that stuff. I don't believe just per their age or per their rank, they should be not in a situation where they have to defend their spots on the national team. You know, we're
Yeah.
not even talking about people that went and got world medals. Like at first, that's where it started with everything. It's like, oh, if you get a world medal, if you get an Olympic medal, you don't got to fight the next year, blah, blah, blah. But now we're going off pure ranking of going, you got your 40 before everybody else did, and you're in the top 10. And now you don't have to, the rest of the country is just, you know, shit out of luck. No 58, whatever the divisions are, 68, 74, whatever, heavyweight, 80. Like there's nobody because we're not allowing anybody.
Yeah. And, here's a factoid for you. Did you know that very few Americans got their 40 last year?
Really?
CJ, Jonathan, and Michael Rodriguez. I can't think of anybody else. None of the women. Oh, sorry, Naomi Alati. She got it. None of the
Wow.
They didn't go to enough regular G events, and then they didn't, win.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's a big mistake by everybody. I mean, again, I don't care where you're at. A little lesson for everybody. Listen, the one thing that's consistent is that people are inconsistent, and somebody has a big result or a good result, and then they go 2 and 3, Grand Prix, and they drop their first matches. Like that's like, I think, some of these people think they've arrived. That's, you got to give someone like CJ credit, right? That he can consistently go and win up there. Like, listen, credit where credit's due. If I'm going to give critiques, I'll give critiques. I'll give credit where credit's due. And then you get some of these young bucks that they pop through and they go, I'm there, I've arrived, only to lose their first match next round. And only to lose, follow that up with the under 21, drop. It's a little scary for people. I think people have to, keep working hard. And like you said, there's too many good countries out there. And these, TJ, what did you say? Anybody with a stand at the end of their name, at the end of their country,
Yeah.
you got to watch out for. So, and
Yeah,
you
for
watch
sure.
next year at the World Championships in juniors and seniors, the Kazakhstan, it's gonna be extremely, extremely tough.
I know Korea, and historically Korea has always been viewed as tough, and Iran is tough. It's just I always wonder. I mean, I know why Korea and I know why Iran. We always say they're so deep, but like, in your opinion, like, are we ever gonna Can we get there? Like, shouldn't we be there? Shouldn't we have enough of whatever the case is to get in a situation where we can be 3, 4, 5, 6 deep at this point? And if we're not, are we being crazy by saying we're going to dominate? Because all these other countries that do dominate and do win are 4, 5, 6 people deep. So how can we do it with 1, maybe 2?
I was going to say that, there's 2,500 total black belts in the United States that compete. Last year, there's 2,500. And there's about 700-ish in the senior, high-end junior ranks that total for, picking these juniors and senior teams from. And most of them aren't competitive, as you know. So we're not deep in terms of growth, total numbers. And so I see it a huge challenge. I think, Juan, I've heard you say in the past, you've been either to Uzbekistan or seen them, and they've got these hordes of people. At some point, it's a numbers game. Like here in the States, California dominates nationals and team trials, especially at the cadet level, because they've got 27, 28% of all the black belts, sparring black belts. And then Texas is second. The numbers don't lie. They punch above their weight and get more percentages than those. But after that, it falls off. There's New York mostly, and then Florida. But Florida's a big drop down from these other ones. And then, there's whole states with nobody. Like nobody.
That's crazy. TJ, I'm going to say this, that I just saw a post today and I'm in the chat, and someone sent me this thing with one of the former world championships from Spain. He's talking about they had 4,000 people at their pre-cadet and cadet, or maybe junior, maybe up to juniors, 4,000 black belts fighting at this event in Spain. So when you just said 2,500, this is 4,000 below juniors, you know, and then we've talked about Turkey, we've talked about Russia, talked about Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. It's just, it's a little scary because I believe we have the potential, we have the money, but the slide could keep going down and down and down. The trend is not, I mean, if I'm just being honest, and you know better than me, Mr. Lewis, the trend does not look good. Like I don't see any stopgap that says, no, we're going to just spike back up. It's something you got to say to the public because you want to keep people motivated. But unless you guys have a real plan, which seems like you don't because you haven't told anybody and you've disenfranchised so many different people, I don't know.
Maybe it's on
I
the
don't
coaching
know.
calls. Maybe it's on the monthly coaching calls that they tell
Did you ever
what the
get
plan
a
is.
email back to
No,
get on?
no,
Come on.
sir. No, sir. No,
Come
sir.
on.
No,
Did
sir.
you send something and ask?
Again? No, I don't know. I filled out the required forms that all the coaches did in our country to say they wanted to apply for a coaching spot, and what have you done, and what teams you coached on, and have you done any of this, and do you want to be a part of the calls, all this stuff? Nah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Your comment just now, which really meant the lack of transparency, is at every level. Like, for example, strategic plan, which normally companies, for example, would revamp every couple of years at least. If it had a bad year, it's almost every year. But I went to the WT site because USAT is always bragging about we're the number one participant in the world. I forget what is the acronym,
Yeah, I forgot.
NGB or whatever it is.
M&A.
M&A, that's it. And so I went to the WT site where they ranked all these things. And of course, some of them are just foo-foo fluff, but they had one down there for strategic plan. Excuse me. So I went and clicked on it and it was USA strategic plan, which I had never seen. So I clicked on that. It was 2017. We're being held up for being this great M&A for having a 2017 strategic plan, which I had never even seen. And, it read okay, but it's
I mean, listen, maybe it's based on governance and stuff like that, but if they're talking about, again, production, listen, we weren't number one in cadets. We weren't number one in juniors. We weren't number one in seniors. I don't know if we were number one in Pumse. We weren't number one in para. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how we got that designation, but I mean,
it's all fluff.
again, maybe
It's fluff.
I'm about to say, are those even real awards?
No.
no. But it looks good, for them to put it out there. It looks good for them to tell the USOC, look what we're doing and stuff like that, and rationalize. Maybe the board, maybe Carol takes it to the board. Look what we got again for the second year in a row. Oh, by the way, our two big guns, got shut out.
Yeah.
Explain
AI
that.
likes it. AI likes it. I Googled something the other day. I was looking for some record in USAT. So I just, Googled USA Taekwondo performance or something like that. And AI immediately came up with USA Taekwondo is number one in the world.
Wow.
So yeah,
Oh.
AI loves it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, listen, I love all your stuff because I think you're pretty objective and and all your you don't seem like you don't have a stake in the fire, so to speak. So you're not like trying to push an agenda and stuff. And I know we could be accused of that, but it's funny because I think for me it just comes from a passion to want to see these guys do well. Number one, and number two, it's just I feel like people for some reason are not willing to speak up, and so in my opinion the hole gets deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's a little disheartening for me.
What was the you said, I'm excited though, you said there were some things that you agree and disagree. Let's get to the sorry not sorry part. What's the not sorry part?
The not sorry part. Okay, well,
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
He's
okay,
like, he's got a laundry list, man.
He's an out the one out, just one.
Okay, I got a big elephant in the room. I'm a big fan of Gareth Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I spent about 3 weeks in watching him training, originally with my daughter and some others. And that was, getting dated now, but I'm a big fan of that guy. And Paul's a good guy too, with a good record, with the GB girls and all that. And of course, he got a silver medal at Worlds. So I like those guys. I don't like that Paul's not in the country. I think that they've done a disservice to other U.S. coaches by not embracing them. And like you said, even though it appears that they've got apprentices, they're not real. And so that's one. Let's see. Oh, another one.
Hold on, let me
Hold
let,
on.
let, let me let me say something. I don't disagree with you. I don't
Mhm.
disagree with you on that. Like, listen, I think first of all, I'm a huge Paul fan. Like, the gentleman to me, I had no problems and stuff like that. You know, he was the reason they brought him over here, right? Everyone thought they were getting Paul Green.
Right.
Again, I had to put my hands up and say, let's see what the guy could do. I had my reservations about could he run a national program, and is he a male coach? Being honest, I just put it out there, say that's my belief. But I like the guy. Gareth was the guy that just was kind of brought along. But is he an intense coach? Yes. Does he take it probably serious? I believe so. Has he, again, going back to our original conversation, has he done what he said he's going to do? I have to say no. I don't have to say no. I am saying no. So that's my only thing. Like, look, it's not a personal thing at all. I mean, I don't know him. I've never had a beer with him. Actually, that's not true. I had a beer with him in Rome at his first Grand Prix, but that was, how many years ago? Back in 17, 19, or whenever it was. So really, I'm not, I don't want to say anything bad. I just think that they've missed their marker. And if you're the boss, you're the boss. And you want the good, you gotta take the bad.
Right.
So
One other thing, I guess, and I'm not sure, I think you're probably going to agree with this too. I really like the idea of a centralized training facility. I just think it should be much bigger now that they got the support and the money. The money initially wasn't there, but they've built it. So good kudos to them for building that cash reserve. But let's spend it. Let's get a whole bunch more athletes in there and maybe a coach or two, even if it's seasonal. I'm not sure what the season would be. And so I like that. I don't like North Carolina, but that's where the sponsorship was with that group that's, apparently giving them all kinds of in-kind benefits and medical, physical fitness stuff. So I like that. I'd have to think about something else I could complain
yeah.
about.
TJ, think about it.
I mean, again, going back to your original question or statement. Again, I think you're right about. I know Paul's has a lot of success and done a lot of good things, and like I was under the same impression that I'm pretty sure everybody else was, that he was going to be here within the country and like he was going to be the guy like running the day to day and doing all the things and stuff like that. I think, like you said, I think Gareth is an intense coach. I know you said, does he take it seriously? I believe so. I just always get so confused, and like I said before, just them not being at nationals, not watching nationals, not investing the extra time, like to sit there. Don't you want to know who's here? Don't you want to
US Open?
see US Open? Don't you want to see what energy, or is there some kid that you're missing? Is there some coaching system that you're missing? But like that's my only defect, for not my only defect, but my biggest thing with that is I just don't see the, like I've been around a lot of good coaches and a lot of coaches that have been national team coaches. Coach Moreno, yourself, like we are at nationals. You were at nationals. We're at team trials. You're at team trials. We went to juniors. You're at juniors. We didn't have cadets. We are at Pan Am champs. You're at Pan Am champs. You're at world champs. You're at world championships. We just sent our under 21 team out there with, forget the coaches. None of them were our head coaches.
Yep.
None of them were our head coaches.
Agreed.
I don't know if there was a staff member there. I know you were telling me about the Iran president was there watching. Like, people have support. We don't even have our head coaches at the under 21. And let's say all these other coaches are great. Let's get away from it. Let's say whatever. You want to say what you want to say. But our big guys are not there with our kids at one of the most impressionable levels at our sport right now, being 18, 19, 20, and 21. We need big wins at that level. And for us to get big wins at that level, we need our big guns there, because whether people like it or not, I went through it. I'm sure all the other coaches went through it. There's certain things you don't know until you know. And I know we were talking last time, you got to start coaching somewhere, but I don't believe it's at the World Championships. I don't believe it's at a World Championships as an assistant coach where you coach 8 people. I don't believe you go on your first trip from being a trainer for cadets or juniors, and now you're coaching our under 21 athletes when you have other coaches that have people on the under 21 team that have done very similar things. So whether that I blame them or not blame him, you have to put it on them, because if he's the head coach, if Paul's the head coach, if the organization's doing this together, I think, like you guys said, we're missing a lot of steps. We're missing a lot of things that don't make any sense. And when you say people care, they're good coaches, I think that's what's being involved of being a good coach of an organization, of a national team. And I think that's the biggest that's one of the biggest things that I think the change between us being in our country and European coaches. I think maybe they are historically used to dealing with smaller countries that have less athletes. I remember when I first went over to GB and they had too much money. Remember that? They had too much money for the number they couldn't find enough athletes to spend their money. And that was their issue. Like that was their that was their gripe. We need more people to spend our money on, to develop, to build. That was their problem. We don't have that problem, and we're still not doing it. So I think maybe that's the whole cultural change thing of having to deal with an entire nation full of people, as opposed to a more club level. There's a few people that do it outside, but at one point, and I still think Americans love Taekwondo. That's why we put up with this shit. Yeah. That's why they still do it. That's why I think two things. Some people put their heads down because they're like, oh man, I don't want to face the truth of this is how it really is. And some people put their head down because they're just going, I'm going to take a little bit of benefits I get in the moment. But I think for me, as far as a whole, I never can say Paul or Gareth or this. I think as a whole, they've missed the cue on any kind of development and understanding of the culture and the world that they're playing in right now.
Right. That was brilliant. I'm gonna keep that recording for myself. The the not going to under 21 fit into my conspiracy theory that maybe they're leaving because they didn't go, and if there was too much travel involved, why go to Bangkok for that? Who cares about that Grand Prix challenge anyway? Like most of other countries just ignored it anyway, except for the Asians nearby. Europe didn't go. So go to under 21, like you said, go to that one because it's important. Even if it's the G4 and it's not extra points.
Maybe some of our kids shouldn't have went to Bangkok. Maybe they should have prioritized and just focused on under 21. We're going to send that many people, a full team, and some of them are our A guys. The maybe under 21's not the one before 21 was important.
I know it's not that far, but there was some domestic travel for some personal seminars that were going on right after that. So that's just again, I'm not against people making their own money and outside money, but not at the expense of the national team, right? Not at the expense like, oh, I can't do this because I can't do this because I have a planned family vacation. Like your responsibility is to the national program. So I want to talk about the centralized program because I do agree with you. I think it's an awesome thing that anytime a federation can do something like that, it's very impressive because it's not easy. I just think that it should have been for everybody. What I can't stand is, listen, I've been critiqued more than anybody in the freaking world about peak performance. Anybody, right? 1,000 times over. And they have their own thing, academy. Like, I'm going to tell you a story, Mr. Lewis. I used to get yelled at by, not yelled at, nobody yells at me. I used to get concerned athletes from my own program that would say, Coach, you don't even pay attention to us on the national team. You pay more attention to everybody else, because I had this fear that people thought that I would just take care of my own personal athletes like another coach did. And I tried to be as fair as possible. And here we go now, whatever, this time it's the academy. It's a private club. So although I like and applaud them for having this facility, it's a segregated place. It's them versus America. It's not them helping America. They haven't embraced people like the same, I don't want to name names. They haven't embraced a lot of people. Matter of fact, they've disenfranchised people. And some of these people that were gung-ho and trying to give them some support at the beginning, they're just all kind of like, they all kind of just step back and like, we don't love them, but we don't hate them. We'll just be here. That's not a good place for us to be as a nation, You're
right.
So that's my point on that.
Yeah, I've been, when they first came up with their whole idea before it was the academy, I think I was the one that coined the phrase Black Ops, their Black Ops team with,
you did.
Young CJ and all the rest, Anna and Madeline Gorman-Shore, John Healy and the rest of them that, some came and went. But, they had that team that they toured around Europe in, I think it was 2018, paying for everything. It was all about points. And it was just them getting the points. Nobody else.
Yeah.
But again, that's the same thing kind of now. Not that they're getting the points, but like now they're getting points and then we're not allowing other people to kind of keep their development. And like I got guys in my gym that now it's like we don't have a team trials and we're talking back and forth on what's the point of even going. I'm gonna spend $500-600 on a flight, get a hotel, then pay for a tournament to potentially fight for second, or maybe nobody else shows up. It's a little disheartening. It's a little bit of a letdown and not a great energy to start the year and like to go, hey, we did all this work for what?
How about this one? Cadets. What's for cadets this year? What do cadets do?
You mean in 26 or 25?
2026, 26.
Next year?
They
They,
have
I don't think they have anything. They have Pan Am championships, don't they?
I was about to say the championships.
Yeah.
No, they're not having. I don't know why they're not having a Pan Am Championships, which is weird because it's a junior world championship year, but they're gonna just have an open like Brazil's hosting it. Hosting it, and
A
so
Pan Am Cadet Open.
so we have the Pan Am Championships, and then there'll be an Open Junior and Cadet Open. But my point is, again, development. There should be a plan. Hey, like I got kids in the cadet team trials. I'm like, why are you gonna go? What are we gonna do? I'm like, but there should be a plan. Hey, cadets, do this. We're gonna have 3 training camps. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna go to open. We're gonna do something. But why would I spend a flight and hotel for these kids to go there just for basically it's just another tournament? You know, I mean, it's a. I just feel and sometimes I'm a little careful because I do a lot of planning for Brazil and it's hard. It's not easy. It's the schedules are always changing and stuff like that. So whoever's doing it on this side of the over here, sometimes I'll say, man, it's hard. I know, but
Yeah, for sure.
I just don't see anything. I just don't see anything. It's always to the last second. And I know we try. I don't feel like these guys, matter of fact, yeah. So that's a bad thing. We want to talk about development. We want to talk about 2032. You mentioned it,
Yeah.
like these cadets hypothetically would be there, at that edge. We don't have any plan for them right now. 2026. We'll see you guys in 27. It's I don't know. We could do better. We're in the United States of America. We got to do better. But
Absolutely.
well,
Sure.
listen, I know we
I got the shirt right here.
Hey,
Hey.
there you go. There you go. I got this shirt. You ever see this shirt, sir?
Oh, I got that. I got a few coffee mugs for my wife that have a lot more F's than that.
Yeah, this is my own saying. This is my own definition.
Okay.
I got my own definition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Right.
well, listen. Let's wrap this up, Mr. Lewis. Awesome, man. I love to. We got to do. We'll do one on your side. I know you and your wife. First of all, your wife is hilarious.
Oh.
I feel like you're me to my her because I'm always trying to reel him in because it starts going crazy, and sometimes if your wife starts swinging, you're like, okay, let's talk about it. She's awesome. I love it. I love it. So
We just
Yeah.
gotta do a crossover and hop on theirs. How about that? We'll do a
That's
crossover.
awesome.
and go to yours.
We're gonna do it.
Let's go. I'm down.
You'll love it too.
I'll
Thank
do
you.
it.
Thank
We'll
you.
get warmed up and be ready for you.
For
yeah,
sure.
it'd be good.
Well,
Well,
go ahead, Coach.
let's end it there, guys. I mean, we'll I'm sure we'll be in touch, Mr. Lewis. Really, it's always an honor to have you. I mean, you're so
Yeah.
like you said, I love your objectiveness and I love all. I mean, your page. I don't know. I'm always checking for it on Facebook. It's always fun to see what you have out there, and sometimes they comment, sometimes they don't. But yeah, thanks for all that you do. Really,
I
Yeah,
appreciate it. That's great to
Yes,
hear.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Later, guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Vegas,
Bye, guys.
baby. Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Love you.
Vegas. Let's go.
Bye bye.
Bye.
middle-income
But
households
all they're
will
doing is
receive
talking
nothing
about Tyler
but
Robinson,
in their
Tyler
state
Robinson.
tax
Is it over? The
stockings.
Zoom meeting? I hope
And
it is.
maybe a bah humbug for
Yeah.
good measure. John Hine.